Hey guys, this is Jennifer with the Shooter's Mindset with episode 416. We have got a treat for y'all tonight. We are going to be talking to our junior winners from the International Precision Rifle Federation Rimfire World Championship in Italy. Oh, it's almost been 2 weeks ago now. Wow, it feels crazy. It seems like I just left. But if you missed the coverage of that, you're just wrong. That's all I know to say about it. There's lots of coverage. If you have been living under a rock and didn't see it, please go watch it. These shooters were amazing throughout the whole match. We had 19 countries represented at the match, and it was great. And we really want to grow this sport. So share it with your friends and get it out there. But great shooting that happened in Umbria, Italy a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. So tonight we have our co-host, Greg Cannon. How's it going?
I'm just glad that you're back so that I don't have to try and do the, hey guys, because you're much better.
It's like the signature, hey guys.
Corey does it pretty good though. Corey, let's hear it.
Hey guys.
Oh no, you gotta bring more Y's or S's or whatever's at the end of guys.
Hey guys.
Yeah, there you go.
That is somewhat disheartening. Okay, Corey, how's it going?
Oh, I'm dead tired. I shot nationals last weekend and I'm just smoked.
Wait, you only shot one match and you're smoked? You normally shoot like 8 matches in a weekend.
I mean, it's a 10-hour drive there and back. Then practice was Wednesday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday prior. So yeah.
So we're all pretty beat because I know I'm still a little jet lagged. I don't know about Greg, but my body still wants to go to bed at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like done. So yeah, you're pretty beat, and then you're beat from nationals. What the heck? All right. Well, our guests of the hour that people really want to talk to because they don't really want to hear from us. We have our champions from the junior division. We have Lilly Knapp and her mom, Holly. How's it going, guys?
Good. It's going good.
Going good. Get back in the swing of things after being like international stars and all?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Back at school, right?
Yep.
No rest for the weary. And then we have the Slades here. We have Jayden, who won the junior division, and her dad, Andy. How's it going?
Going good.
Hey, guys.
Got a boy.
You're hired. If I'm ever out again, we're going to get you to come on, Andy, and do the hey, guys. He's in for it. All right. Go ahead. Do what?
A person has to show their usefulness.
That's right. That's all I'm useful for is saying, hey, guys. So, all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, a lot of people don't necessarily know y'all. You're junior shooters. You're kind of, you've been shooting a lot, but you're there with dad. You're not as out there as some of the adult shooters. So, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how long you've been shooting and how you got into shooting. We'll go Lilly first.
I have been shooting. This year's my 3rd year. I got into it because of Tim Nowak, who was part of the seniors team. He kind of like dragged me into it, and I've just kind of caught on and started doing it.
I mean, he's not a bad mentor to have. He did up on the seniors division. We're going to have him on in a couple of weeks when we do a senior show, but he really shot well that whole match.
He did.
So, great person to get you into it and help you and train you along the way. How about you, Jayden?
I've been shooting guns since 2016 when VPRC first started and my dad started shooting PRS. And I've been shooting competitions for about almost 2 years now.
Is that all that Andy's been shooting? You've been shooting longer than that.
So we started hosting matches it was either 2015 or 2016.
Okay. I was
yeah.
I was like, I know you've been shooting longer than 2 years because I think I've shot with you longer than that.
Oh yeah. I've been shooting competitively since at least 2015.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
but you know, Jayden's only 13, so she hasn't really been old enough to get out there and mix it up, but just because of her size and you know all that. So I think it's good to get the kids out there, but don't do it too early because they need to be safe and they need to understand what you're trying to tell them and be able to move the gun physically and that kind of thing. And she's doing really good with it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's doing all right.
Yeah.
I mean, just won the junior division. She's all right. So girls, how did it feel shooting? Like, I know that y'all have probably shot some big matches, but how did it feel to shoot an international match and represent the United States and have that kind of on your shoulders? Was it just another match you were having fun with, or did it put a lot of pressure on you?
It put a lot of pressure on me.
That's fair.
Yeah, like, because everybody back at home was like really counting on me, so it was like it was a little stressful, but it was fun.
Well, I mean, I think you pulled through, right?
Yeah.
Jayden,
It was stressful for me, especially like on the train up days. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like we're actually here. But then when the match actually started, I had to tell myself like, hey, we're in Gretna, Virginia. Like we're here having fun, shooting with friends, and this is not a big deal. And
Hopefully Jayden doesn't kill me for telling you this, but there was one point where she was like, I don't even deserve to be here. Everybody's better than me. And that was on train up day, you know, because we were out trying to practice hard and make sure she was ready mentally and all that. And there came a point where she was just like, I'm not supposed to be here.
I mean, I can't diss you for that, Jayden, because I think if I got on that stage, I'd be like, wow, why am I the one that's here? But also, I think that you proved that you deserve to be there. I think both of you girls proved that you deserve to be there and that you definitely could play with the big boys on the international stage.
right.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was one of the things I told her. I was like, do you know how many people would love to be in your spot right now? So whether you think you are or not, you're going to go out there and act like it.
Even if you almost pass out before you
Yeah.
you're gonna go out there and do it.
And I had the same conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I feel like it's a lot of pressure for all of the shooters, but I really feel like the juniors probably, I mean, that's a lot for young teenage brains to have to take on that responsibility. I commend you both for being able to, really show yourself under all that pressure and perform the way that y'all did, because a lot of people would have just folded because of the amount of pressure that's on you.
Yeah. Like when we were on day 2, I saw a lot of the guys, like the guy from Sweden that was in first, I think he got the nervous mess and like said, like, I don't know.
Let it get to him a little bit.
Let him get to him. And
it's a lot of pressure.
Well, you got to figure a lot of, especially the kids. I mean, this is probably true for a lot of the adults too, but a lot of the kids, this was their first time on a plane. This was their first time overseas. This was the first time they had ever met somebody that looked like them, that didn't speak the same language as them. So, there's a lot of first time things that are happening. So not only are they having to remember how to play the game, but they're experiencing all this new input that they're having to manage.
Yeah, that's definitely, the mental game is really like different when you get on higher level stages. But enough about all the stress. Let's talk about the fun stuff, the actual shooting. Give me your favorite stage, your hardest stage, and the easiest stage.
Let's do Jayden.
Doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I forget when we have two. I should always pick someone.
All right, Jayden, what was your favorite stage?
My favorite stage was the ladder. You had 6 positions. You had the first position was the ladder, the top rack.
There were 4 ladder rungs.
Yes, 4 ladder rungs, and the first highest one, you had to shoot 2 rounds. I think it was 2 different targets, but they're at the exact same distance, and then move 2 shots, move 2 shots, 2 shots, then move to prone, and then 2 shots at the far, and then move to the other side of the prone and shoot 2 shots there. That was my favorite stage. And the trickiest stage that I had was the Bagara stages, stage 1 and stage 2. Those were not my favorite. And then
why weren't they your favorites?
So, I don't know what it was, but from coming up that hill and then shooting them, both of the days, I just didn't really do good on them. And
so one day you had a hard time finding wind. So
yeah.
One of the things I've noticed with Jayden is she does incredible with fundamentals and she does a really good job pressing the trigger clean. But just because she doesn't have as much experience as some of the adults, sometimes where a really good, let's say, open shooter might think, okay, I'm going to try, if I miss, I'm going to try going 3/10 left. And if I miss again, I'm going to go to 6/10 left. Well, if neither one of those worked, maybe I'll go back to straight up or something like that. She does good, but like in this case, she went like 3, 6, 9, 1, 1, 1, 5, and never in her mind did she stop and think, well, 1, 5 would be a whole lot of wind, you know?
Yeah.
So she was not the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over, but her experience level there didn't allow her to stop and kind of think about what could be going on. And the stages up there on top of the ridge line, there was no backstop, a lot of wind, switching back and forth different directions. So just made it a little tough for you, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say probably 75% of the targets of the match you had no real backstop on. You know, because you got 10 stages up top, you know, you're shooting down in the hay bales down below. There were a few on the lake shore, but even that you were shooting into reeds. So unless you were reeds or something. So, and everything, there was not it looked like it was flat up on the ridgeline, but you were on the side of a mountain. And I literally, if you watched our live stream, you'll see a couple of spots where I'm like, okay, so look at these wind flags. They had wind flags on every target, but there was 2 targets that were probably 30 yards difference in distance, probably 10 yards apart. And the wind flags are like this.
Yep.
It's like, what is my hold for that?
See, the one flag that we did look at that we thought that was being the most truth was number 10. That one was basically telling the truth on the hill.
Otherwise,
So what Jayden,
wind flags are liars.
well, what Jayden's talking about there is that there was a wind flag that happened to be in the middle of the range at about 50 yards. So it was out in the open. It was away from all of the different terrain features and all the different trees. So it was the most accurate. If there was one that was going to tell the truth, it was that one. So she's just saying that a lot of times we would watch the different conditions and then compare it to that wind flag to kind of get an idea of what was going on, just because it was out in the open and getting the most exposure to the conditions.
Right.
But even the fact that you knew that, Jayden, and you picked up that flag was the most correct or truthful flag, it's a big deal. I think a lot of people were not picking up on that.
Yep.
So that's good.
Yep. The easiest stage that I thought that I had was
One of the bays, probably down in the bottom.
I was gonna say the tank trap.
Okay.
That was one of the easiest ones for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about
What
Lily?
about you, Miss Lily?
I'd say my favorite stage was probably the boat stage on day 2, where you had
Okay.
3 different 3 different targets, and one of the targets were like up on like the hill. I did pretty good on that one, so that was probably my favorite. My hardest one was probably the logs, where you had 2 targets, same position, same yardage, but 5 positions. And I hate to admit it, but I took a 0 on that stage because the wind was like back and forth, and I just couldn't figure that one out. So, and then the easiest stage, I wouldn't really consider any of them easy. Like every stage was straightforward, but like you all had like a wind factor like that played in there, so that they were all kind of like a little difficult in some way.
Okay. So Jen and Greg, I know you guys mentioned it a lot, but like how switchy was the wind really? Like if you were to say like just the worst you've ever seen, how close is it to that?
Oh, it's hard to tell because I was focused a lot on cameras and audio and not conditions downrange. But
Okay.
there was I don't think that I've ever seen shots that had so many different wind patterns being shot with a rimfire.
Okay.
When you're making 1,000-yard shot, it's common that, you start on your flat range and then there's the gully that runs through and then there's a mountain next to where you're shooting.
Right.
Generally, when I'm shooting rimfire, it's a flat range or something close to it.
Yeah.
So for instance, the boat stage that we were talking about, I'm not sure if you saw any of this, but when they say boat stage,
I heard a lot about that. I heard that was a tough one.
It is a boat, like an actual boat in a lake. Now they do a really good job of making it stable, so it's not super rocky, but it's just a super cool stage. And 2 of them you're shooting across the lake that's down in a bowl, pretty much. So you kind of got that swirly winds going on there, but those targets aren't terrible. They're just past 100 yards. And then your next shot, I think you shoot over a giant hill next to it. And then on the hill behind that is where your 160, 170 yard target is.
Oh, wow.
And, that's just a lot of topography changes over 170 yards.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I'll say like I probably noticed it most up on the hill because we spent a good bit of time up there. And there were shooters that came through and the flags were all one way, and mid shooting, they were a complete opposite. I mean, we had stages where it was dead and there was no wind up there. And then it would come up and literally invert my umbrella. Like my umbrella right out enough times that that umbrella died in Italy. It's still there.
Yep.
So it was enough wind to flip all of our umbrellas that were there. And I know I saw some of the RO umbrellas also. And then 10 minutes later, it would be calm.
Yeah.
I almost took out Peyton Grimes with my whole tripod and umbrella. I walked away for a couple of minutes and
oh no.
She's standing there. She's like, I tried to catch it. I'm like, I care more about you than the tripod and camera. I'm just glad you didn't get hit with it.
So how much different was the match than what you shoot back home? I mean, I guess with what Greg is saying, it's a lot different topography, but were the target sizes the same? Was the kind of the general prop kind of like similar? Maybe we'll start with Lily.
Target sizes, like back at home, you wouldn't really use those in matches here, but like me and Tim practiced with those target sizes. So I mean, it really wasn't, I don't want to, it was difficult, but it was like, oh, I've seen this before. But then like props were really sturdy, which we had pretty sturdy props back at home. So it's just kind of like going into practice is kind of how I tried to look at it, but with just more wind.
Well, that's perfect. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
What about you, Jayden?
Target sizes were definitely smaller than I was used to. When we got the news that the targets were going to be smaller, we had to go around and change all the targets. But the props were sturdy. I try to practice on less sturdy props. So when I do go to match and they're not sturdy, I kind of fight. I know how to fight through that. So.
Okay.
I would say one of the things that was definitely different at this match versus most matches that you go to, the targets were welded on the stems, and then the stem was welded to a pipe. So the target was directly hanging down and completely solid. So even if you hit it on the extreme edge, you got no indicator that you actually got it.
Oh, yeah.
That's rough.
So, yeah. So, and not only that, but they were all skylines. So there were no backstops. So basically everybody was you were either seeing the bullet and seeing where it hit, or you were hoping that it was going to stay on the plate, because there was no reading plate swing at all.
Right. Yeah. Huh. Can't say I'm a fan of that type of target.
I will say, though, I don't know of any target failures during the match.
Yeah. I was thinking that would be the advantage.
There was one over the lake. But
there was one over the lake.
Yep.
It was one on day 3. Dakota was shooting at the stage and it went down. I remember that.
Of course, Dakota.
Okay.
She did get a reshoot on that one too, so
that's good. Yeah, the targets were super solid. From a match director's perspective, it's like, yes, if somebody else would set those up so I didn't have to haul all that heavy stuff out there, I would love them. But yeah, they were there was no knowing if you got edge hit. So there were a couple of times you could see if it was like literally half the bullet impacts the target.
Oh, okay.
Easy to see, but if you were on plate at the edge, you weren't gonna know. Another thing I know Lilly mentioned the props. How was the height of the props for you ladies? Did you guys have any trouble getting on?
I had a really big trouble with them. It was a lot of them that didn't have boxes. Like, they had boxes that they moved back and forth, but it was kind of difficult because I thought that they would at least try to, like, proof them, because this was a world championship. Like, these should be at least height good. And I was on one stage and they didn't have any boxes, and I go to check and I was a little too short, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to do my tippy toes and see how that goes. What about you, Lilly?
I did not have any problems. All of them were perfect for me.
Yeah,
How tall are you? Lilly, I feel like you're about my height. How tall are you? About 5'6", 5'5"?
Yeah, 5'6", 5'7", something like that. I really don't know.
That's what I thought.
Yep. So how about y'all's gear rundown? Let's hear about what kind of setups it takes to, become like world champs. Who wants to go first? Lilly, let's go first. Go ahead, Lilly.
Okay. You guys want to know all my gear, including my tripod, down to my bags, all that?
Anything you want to tell us about?
So I run a CZ457 in a MDT ACC chassis with a Timney trigger and an Apex Rival scope. And then for my tripod, I use a loop-holed tripod with my Apex Summit binos. And my bags are Armageddon gear and I use an Atlas bipod.
Nice.
I love that 457. I have so many guns and everything, and that my little 457 back there is still my little trooper.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
fantastic guns.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Jayden?
So I run a MDT Skypod, and then I run a ACC Elite MDT chassis. Then I run a Zero Dark Precision barreled action, a Lilja barrel Remax 16 twist, and then Ely I shoot match, and then Vortex 6 236 Razor Gen 3, and then then I do Rifleman's Path training, and then apply coatings what did my Cerakote, and then I run a Luaphoto tripod, and then Vortex binos, and then Armageddon gear, and can't think. Oh man, Trigger Tech Diamond straight.
Why do you do Rifleman's Path? I mean, like, do you know that person or something?
Yeah, kind of. I have some pretty good ways.
She's got some connections.
I hope he's giving you a good deal.
He's giving me a really good deal.
Well, I'll just say this. I'll give anybody else the same deal. If you come here and help clean the house and wash the dishes.
And do range work.
Yeah, you got to go out and do range work. You got to weed eat, mow the grass, and that kind of stuff. Then you can get some good rates on your training.
I will say, so I created, because we want to have all these shows with the winners, and there's so many US winners that we are trying to figure out how to get the US winners on shows combined. So I did a group text or a group Facebook Messenger, I guess. And so once they started replying who could do shows when, I said, okay, I need y'all, or Greg said, send us your email. And so Andy put his in there, and of course it's at riflemanspath.com. And one of the shooters said, does anyone else feel like they need to go out and get new email addresses after Andy put his in here?
She's legit.
All right. So we got a lot of people over in the live comments right now. But Andy, you do have a taker. Tyler Orth's going to send both of his kids over
Nice.
to work off his training with you.
Nice.
Jayden is like,
great
yes.
deal. Great deal.
Let's see. Jayden, Ruth's giving you big props for overcoming your issues with being able to reach all the props.
Prentice said, hey, girl.
Yeah, Prentice said some things.
Shocking.
He might be jet lagged too.
We're about at the midpoint of the show. Remember, if you're watching us live on Facebook, ask any questions you may have in the comment section of the video. We'll ask it live on air. Other ways to catch us, you can always check back on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. The videos stay up there forever. And we usually upload to all the podcast apps the night after the show, and everything else eventually ends up on the Shooter's Mindset YouTube page. So that's a great place to look up past episodes, as well as the IPRF Rimfire World Championship coverage. So if you want to watch these two ladies doing some work, go check it out there. If you're gearing up for hunting season, you're going to want to listen closely. We've got an offer to tell you about that could score you up to $750 in gear. This amazing promotion is brought to you by our friends at Christensen Arms. If you don't know Christensen, they've created the first carbon fiber barrel back in 1995, and they've been making world-class rifles ever since. Now through October 31st, when you buy any eligible Christensen Arms rifle, you can send their team a simple form with your original receipt. Once they verify your purchase, they'll email you an electronic gift card worth up to $750 on their online store, which is stocked with premium accessories from Christensen, as well as other brands like Loophole, Mystery Rants, Half-Face Blades, Uncharted Supply Company, and more.
Might get me a knife.
Sounds
All right. So, World Shoot. How was it shooting with people from other countries? Were people helpful? Were you able to talk to everyone? Let's ask Lilly first on this one.
People were very helpful in my squad. I shot with a guy from Canada, and he was pretty helpful. We talked like back and forth about like wing calls, and then I had another like somebody from the UK. He was helpful. He like saw some of my shots the ROs didn't call, so he was helping me get some extra impacts. Almost got cheated out of, but yeah, the rest
Bad boy.
helped each other out.
Very nice. Okay. What about you, Jayden?
I had an amazing squad. I had a guy from South Africa. He was single feeding the whole match.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That guy was awesome.
He was really helpful. And then another guy from the Great Britain, he helped me out a lot, and I helped him. And like if he would need like a extra game changer or anything like that, we would hand it to each other, and they were really helpful. And I actually gave him a Team USA sticker, and he gave me stickers back. So I was like,
awesome.
this is really
cool. Yeah, that's the best part of competing
of that guy. And I don't remember which day it was, but one of the days that's the junior, who was it? Junior, senior, or no, junior and open. One of the junior open days in the morning, one of the morning stages has the guy that was single feeding. That was impressive.
That's wild.
His name was Greg. Super cool dude and extremely talented to be able to feed that on shoots like that. It was incredible.
So I know who you're talking about now. I spent some time chilling with him on lunch one day. I did not know he was single feeding the whole match, though. That is.
I said, Greg, why are you single feeding your rifle? He said, because I don't have one with a magazine.
That's right. He said, he told somebody, he said, then buy me a gun with a magazine.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I need to do a fundraiser there.
Andy, you do have some people that want to know if you accept international exchange students.
100%. 100%.
That was Stephen Borsellino and Dean Scott, who's from Great Britain, who helped us out greatly. He also said that he has 2 that you can have.
Very good. We had one shooter from South Africa that said his dad instructed him not to come home until Andy offered him a job in the States.
That's awesome.
So naturally, we offered him a job in the States, and I don't know if he's going to take it or not, but he at least was able to go home.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's really
But
fun.
The funny thing was just like, Mom was like, do you have a wife? He's like, no, but I can get one. Because he's like, can she clean? And
yeah, my wife was like, you can only come if there's a wife that comes with you that can do housework.
Well, guess y'all better get on it. So we talked to the girls a lot during this show. Let's talk to the parents for a minute. So Holly and Andy, what was it like getting prepared for a match of this magnitude? Between the logistics, I know there was a lot with juniors not being able to have their own stuff in Italy, right? Y'all had to take possession and have it. From what I understand, they were not allowed to have their things. You had to have their gun and their ammo. So logistics and skills, like getting them ready. I know, Andy, you train, professionally. So Jayden has got like a real in there with her dad training. But what was it like trying to get them both ready for this match?
For us, for myself, I should say, it was very stressful getting everything around, making sure I had all the paperwork, and then going to the airport and making sure that, hoping that everything was good so we could get through. it was very, very stressful. Once we made it to Italy, it was a lot better. Getting her ready for the matches each day, that was kind of more of a Tim thing because usually dad's there to kind of, you know, talk her up and walk her through things, but we did our best and she had a good shoot, and that's all I asked for.
And she did well.
She did do very well.
Andy, how about you?
Oh, you guys did way better than me. I have no idea at all. Tammy did everything. No, I mean, it was
paperwork.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had to do, obviously, people always ask, well, it's got to be hard going to a foreign country with a rifle, right? But remember, people do this fairly often, right? So guys go to Africa to go hunting, and the Olympics travel all over the place. So there's a method that's outlined. You just got to have somebody to help you through it. And thank God, Angela Zane figured most of this out last year with France, and then moved forward and kind of helped everybody out with going to Italy. So they had already kind of figured out what forms we needed to fill out. We needed to go get our customs forms done ahead of time by going to a customs office and having our rifles looked at and write the serial number down, because basically they want to make sure that you're not importing a firearm. And unless they record that firearm leaving the United States, they have no idea whether it was truly already in the United States. So anyway, there were definitely some forms to fill out. And I will tell you this, our rifles got left behind on the tarmac. So when we left Atlanta, it looked like our rifles were on the plane based on the air tag. But then when we left and landed, they were still sitting on the tarmac. So
nice.
We had to, we had to drive 2.5 hours to our hotel, spend the night having no idea whether our rifles were going to be there the next day, and then drive 2.5 hours back to Rome. And believe it or not, I forgot my keys because I had put my keys in my carry-on. So when it came time to inspect the rifle and make sure the serial numbers matched, I was like, guys, I don't even have the keys to this case. So they ended up cutting the locks for me, so I didn't have to drive 2.5 hours back, which was awesome.
Right.
And but anyway, it was way less painful than most people would assume it is.
I knew your rifles got left. I didn't know you forgot the keys. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just gave me anxiety telling me that story.
Well, there's a lot of good people out there. I know Mark Wright, Dakota's dad, was like, hey, y'all shoot on different days. She's welcome to shoot Dakota's gun. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of thing that you run into with this community, is just people are always willing to help and be there for you if you need it. So.
And that was like instantly too, no hesitation, because by the time I figured out if it was a post or a message or something that went out in one of the group things, and I saw both of them at the same time, like instantly, like, here's a rifle you can use.
Yep.
That was really, really cool. There was everybody at this match, whether the same country or different countries. It was great seeing everybody there for the same purpose and everybody acting like, you know, a group of best friends. I know one of y'all said a little bit ago about how somebody from another country was calling, missed impacts for you. And I saw that multiple times where, I think Chris Simmons, they missed a call on him. And there was 3 people from 3 different countries that were about to jump that RO if he didn't give them the impact.
I saw it multiple times. I saw Andy go to bat for multiple other countries. And at one point I saw you telling him, look, I ain't got nothing to gain from this. He's not from my country. Like, they're from Sweden. I ain't got nothing to gain. But that was an impact. I watched it. It was across the board. All the countries were helping each other and really, truly wanted it to be a fair match.
Mm-hmm.
Were those calls because of the targets, do you think?
It was because the targets. It was because the targets were static. They were welded to the stem. So
Right, yeah.
usually if you get an edge hit, you get the target will twist, right? But in
Yep.
this case, it loses inertia because it's not hitting, the full bullet is not hitting the target. So it's very, very hard to call edge hits.
Okay.
And
And
I spoke with the particular RO that missed that shot a couple of squads later. They had very light duty tripods. And this
okay.
he's on like a 40 or 50x spotter looking at these targets 150 yards away. And if you do it, it's going all over the place. So we were actually on tripods trying to help him find a better tripod for his personal use so that he can make better calls next time, because he was trying to do his best, like the
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the ROs wanted to do well. They wanted it to be fair, and they knew that sometimes heck, you do it all day. I've RO'd. You do it all day long. At some point you blink and you're like, oh, was that an impact?
And you'll start seeing things too.
Yeah, you get exhausted. Yeah. And I feel like the majority of them were very accepting when people were coming up. They just wanted to know, like, what country are you from, right? So if it's an American shooter, an American spotter is saying it, they're like,
yeah,
I see it. Like, they really wanted it to be people that didn't have skin in the game. And that's what happened, is the other countries were coming through for the competitor.
Right. Okay.
To help back them up. And the ROs were generally listening to them and saying, you saw it? You sure you saw it? What country are you from? Okay, yes, they saw it. So we're going to call it.
Gotcha.
So I feel like they were doing the best that they could.
I saw fewer free points at this match than any other match I've been to, as far as like a big match, meaning like they were not as quick to give edge hits. And then because the squad had to kind of come together and say, no, that was for sure an impact, there were fewer free points given away that weren't earned. So I think it actually ended up working out better, in my mind, looking at it.
Right.
I had one RO that, like, every time that I shot his stage, like, I had to get a picture with him and everything. He was really excited that I shot first on his stage. Like, he really liked me. He had a really soft spot for me, but, like, I was hearing, like, everybody from day one, like, he wasn't, like, the happiest RO. And then I go shoot, and he just has, like, a really soft spot for me. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. The RO was like, everybody was calling him, like, grumpy or something like that. But for whatever reason, he was real happy to see Jayden.
Which stages was it on?
The red boat stage.
Yep, exactly the RO I was thinking of.
Umbrella hat.
Yes. He was he looked grumpy, but he was the nicest guy.
He was great.
Yep. And it was it was different because, some of the ROs spoke pretty good English. He didn't speak a lot, but he was just, he has kind of the resting face that is not the happiest, but he was a happy guy. He was happy. Yes, Ruth, it's the same guy you got in trouble with for yelling. There was because they don't want, with so many different languages at the match, if you're at a match in the States and, you hear voices behind you saying, like, man, I wonder what they're going to have for lunch today at Texas Precision. Like, they always have good food. I really hope it's tacos.
Fuego tacos every time.
Yeah. So, like, you'll hear that behind you. You know that that's not an issue. But if you don't speak English and you hear those words behind you, like, you don't know if that's somebody saying, hey, don't forget, dial your dope on this. Don't forget to hold over. The wind just picked up. Hold a little bit more left. So they were pretty strict about the loud talking in the background because they didn't know what you were saying. Not all. And Ruth yelled something when somebody from another country just was absolutely rocking the stage, and he yelled at her.
Oh.
All right. Tyler said also that he was nice to him as well, probably because he was caught laughing while missing.
Laughing while missing.
That's totally me. I'm just like, oh. So ladies, was there more pressure to perform at this match than others?
Yes. Definitely yes.
Was it because of the team aspect or because of the international representing your country aspect, or all of the above?
All of the above. Like my family, they kind of, so we own a gun shop and down here in Gretna, and the people that would come in, like we did like a raffle, like a fundraiser for a scope, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, like I hope you do good. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like if I don't do good, like this is gonna be like a terrible train wreck.
How about you, Lily?
Yeah, I had a lot of pressure going into this because pretty much everybody like knew I was going to Italy and was like expecting a lot from me. Like even like my school like made a post about it. So everybody at my school knew about it. So it was stressful and a lot of pressure, but it turned out to be all good.
I'm glad it turned out to be all good. So on matches with live scoreboards, there's generally people with two different strategies. There's the people that will walk 19 miles to stay away from that live scoreboard on their way to the porta john. And there's the people that will put in their chamber flag and sprint to the scoreboard to see where they start. Which of these two people are y'all?
So Daddy and Mama was like, hey, I'm not going to show you the scores. But at lunchtime, Daddy's like, here, this is where you're at. Like, while Mama was going to get food. I knew something. I knew that, like, I was in the top 5, probably. Because, like, how my parents were acting. I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, they're like, if you screw up, like, this is going to be pretty bad.
We didn't say that. One of the things that I did tell her though is she had a bad stage, and it was before lunch, and then the next stage didn't go maybe quite as well as you had hoped, and then the next stage was even worse.
Yeah.
And it was like you could tell on that stage she just gave up a little bit because there was a speed aspect. She needed to go a little bit fast in order to get all her shots off, and she just kind of didn't have the moving with a purpose that she normally would. And that's when I kind of took her to the side, and I'm like, listen, you're still in this. Look at the scores. Don't give up, because you can absolutely still win this. But if you give up now, you're giving everything away. And I think sometimes you need to see that. You need to know that you're still in the fight.
I think I saw those two stages because she did not great on a stage and then got the, what were you doing? You were moving like molasses.
Yeah.
And like, then y'all were like in the tree line for a really long time talking. Okay, Andy was the only one talking. Jayden was just listening. And then the next stage, she got up there and cleaned it in like 62 seconds or something stupid. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, she's the Energizer Bunny. You just have to turn her back on and then she goes. But the motivational talk helped.
So I'm actually getting stickers made of like a sloth holding a rifle, because like my parents always call me a sloth when I'm not shooting. And I've been thinking about getting the Energizer Bunny because my parents been calling me that since that stage. So I think that might be my next sticker idea.
It was pretty funny. We have it on video.
Yeah, I think I distinctly remember saying, I don't care if you miss, but you better not go slow. It was obvious. She's just like, okay, I'm going to set my rifle down now. And oh man, it drives me crazy. But that's what kids are good for sometimes.
How hard is it to stay in the background and be quiet whenever that's going on?
Oh, it's incredibly hard. Yeah.
It's less stress for you because you don't have to really worry about you and then me. And
I'm a super competitive person. I would have much rather been shooting the match but at the same time, like having her there and being able to, you know, help her and watch her and see how incredibly far she's come. It was an unbelievable experience to see her do that. And she actually finished out. I'm sure you guys have the scores, but I think it was like 31st or 32nd overall at 13
Yeah.
years old. And it's like, holy cow.
You did great.
How about
So
you,
what was
Lily?
y'all's?
I didn't look at the scores until lunch, but then I just like after that I kind of like tried to stay away from looking at them because I didn't want it to like mess with me at all. So I didn't really look at them much.
Yeah, I had to keep telling her to put the phone away. Don't look. Because it messes with her mentally if she isn't doing as well as she needs to be sometimes. So I had to keep saying, nope, you're fine. You're doing good. Just keep pushing through.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
and
the same way. I hate looking at scores.
Lily's a prime example of why you shouldn't even look at the scores, because like it was showing you were in like 5th or something like that.
Mhm.
And so I wasn't even adding up your scores at that point because like I didn't know what stages you had shot. So there were 3 other ones that were right there with everybody. And like I was keeping up with where they were at and how many stages they had shot and what scores they got on those stages. So I could kind of tell like who she was with. But then at the very end, bam, you came out of nowhere. And I was like, wow, I didn't even have you on my radar. And you and her were within 1 point. It was awesome. But
Yeah,
there's a prime example. Why even look at the scores if you don't know which ones are even up to date?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was each of y'all's favorite part of Italy? And I want to know Greg and Jen's too, because I heard a little something about a villa that they rented. We'll start with Lily though. What was your favorite part of Italy?
Probably when we got to go sightsee. We went to like the Ferrasi
Okay.
Cave, and like they were like it was really cool. Like just to like go inside the caves. Like we spent like an hour, and I'm just walking around.
Okay. Was it caves where people lived or just like natural caverns that are like carved by water and stuff?
Yeah, natural caverns that were carved by water.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Jayden? What was your favorite part of Italy?
My favorite part was going to this little town called Assisi, and we toured around it, went to all the kinds of shops, and then we went to Catholic churches. That's like a thing for my dad to go to their churches in other countries and see how they are. And we went, and we were like, okay, well, we're like reading everything, and then we find out that like Perugia and Assisi declare war together. And it's almost like our small town, Gretna, declared war on Chatham. So it was like very confusing. And then we learned about
Rome.
We learned about Rome, and what was that guy's name?
Oh, St. Francis of Assisi.
We learned about St. Francis of Assisi, and then I got a wax stamp, like the envelope wax seals that they used in the 1800s or something.
Oh, cool.
I was really excited about that.
That's super cool.
Were you in CC when they had the crossbow competition?
No.
They had this medieval like parade with drummers, and then they had these dudes with crossbows.
Like
huge
crossbows.
Huge crossbows. It was cool.
Missed that too.
Jen, was that your favorite part? Was the crossbow competition?
No. My favorite part was my husband and I went to Santa Severa, which is a beach that is about 40 minutes by train from Rome. And so we went for the day, and there's like a huge castle on the beach. Like literally, a lawn chair is right here. There's a castle. It was awesome. And it was a beach with, you could go in up to your armpits and still see your feet at the bottom. And
oh, nice.
Like it was Italian families everywhere. It was very authentic. It wasn't
Yeah.
tourist at all. Like some of the people were like, how did you even find this? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just a sleuth and like to look at weird things. I don't like to go where everybody goes. I like to go off the beaten path a little bit. And we found it. And it was by far my favorite day. It was great. We stayed until watched the sunset over the Tyrrhenian Sea and watched the castle get dark. And it was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Craig, was it the pizza?
So it's a really hard, like, I guess my favorite part of Italy as a whole is going to be the food. And it wasn't just the pizza. It was the meat, the cheeses, the olive oils, the breads, like everything that you ate there was more delicious. You know, we stopped in one small town. We had we spent 5 hours doing a 2-hour drive from Rome into Umbria. And me and Damien decided, as men do, sometimes we make executive decisions, that we were going to have 2 lunches on this trip because then we could eat in 2 different parts of Italy.
Perfectly reasonable.
And on lunch number 2, we went to this beautiful little town. And as we were ordering our sandwiches
in Viterbo,
that one, the food delivery showed up. And you know, here you get a semi truck or a box truck or reefer truck, whatever. It's a little girl with a wagon with glass jars of food, like literally walks up to the front door and starts bringing stuff in. It was amazing. But
oh, that's so cool.
So that was my favorite part of Italy. But my favorite part of the trip as a whole was all of the people, and realizing that even though we all speak different languages, sometimes you can understand a couple of words of each other, but we all have the same passion for the same sport. And it was just really, really cool to see the camaraderie of 19 different countries worth of people coming together and everybody getting along and enjoying it and having a great time.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I mean, they cut a hole in a fence for me. To be able to get footage, I needed to be able to see through, and they're like, we cut fence. Well, that was after, so I had asked for something to stand on so I could go over the fence, because I didn't ever think about them cutting the fence. And so Mara, who was the girl that was helping us, and she could speak English, and so she said, Jennifer, come here. And she brings me out there and she goes, I have 6 men for you. And I was like, are they gonna hold me up? Like, I'm confused. And she was like, no, they are thinking for you. And so their thinking came up to, we cut fence. And so they cut a big hole in the fence for me to be able to video through. It was great. Good times. So girls, where do you go from here? I mean, that's a pretty lofty thing that y'all have done. And you're 13 and how old are you, Lily?
16.
13 and 16. You have like medaled in an international competition, both of you. So like, where do you go from here? What do you do now? What are your goals?
My goals are probably, well, we got nationals next month, so my goals are to take top weighting junior there. But overall, my goals are really just to keep improving, like take like what I learned from Italy and try to be like better than what I was when I went to Italy. So just keep shooting, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with that goal. How much
Just
you
keep shooting. I love it.
Yeah. So actually, me and Sam actually set this goal to come to Italy. And I was like, yeah, we accomplished this goal because we were talking about it after France. And Laurel comes back and she's like, hey, yeah, y'all should do this. And our parents were like, y'all probably not going to be able to make the team and everything. Well, a couple months later, we make the team and we're like, okay, we're in the game now. We got to make this happen. And I was like, Sam, we made it. We accomplished our goal. And she's like, yeah, we did. And I think my goals for now on is course, do really good at regional and the finale, and go win my first 1 day and 2 day. Those are my goals.
So Jayden, this does not need to be a this year goal, but girl, if you don't make one of your goals at some point to beat that man sitting to your right, then me and you gonna talk next time I see you. And ain't gonna be all huggy. I'm gonna smack you around a bit. Because I want to see you try and beat Dad.
Well, I beat him on a couple of stages, and I feel like maybe one day if me and him. So at our VPRC 2-day matches, my dad does this thing, the PRS barricade drag race. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but it's pretty cool. So I did the VPRC one. I didn't do the the war rifles one, because we were in Italy, of course, when that one was going on. But I was shooting a rifle that I wasn't familiar with it, because, like, I shoot an MDT. It was an MPA chassis, and I haven't shot an MPA since 2000 or something. I can't remember. But I was shooting it, and, yeah, it was really fun. I would really like to see if me and my dad could draw a chip together and go at it and see who would win. That would be pretty cool.
And
I
the challenge is laid out.
I think it needs to happen, but it needs to be like live on Facebook so we can all partake in it.
Yeah.
Side bet's going on for sure.
So we were at that Black Bear 2-day match where they had the 2-day Rimfire match down in Appomattox, Virginia, and I was having a pretty good match. And we got to the end of it, and Jayden comes up to me, and she was like, "Hey, Dad, you might have won, but I beat you on 2 stages." And I'm like, "Fair."
Awesome. You keep at it, girl. You're only 13. Give it a couple years. I think you're going to be giving Dad a run for his money. And Lilly, your goal should be to eventually beat Tim.
I have.
Oh,
nice.
I love it.
How did that feel?
What?
How did it feel to be the guy that taught you how to shoot?
When it first happened, it was like, I don't know, it was kind of, I was like, didn't expect it. Because he made the comment, he's like, "Oh, when Lilly beats me, I'm not going to shoot anymore." And it happened like my second year. And obviously it was a joke, but it was fun. I mean, we kind of go back and forth with each other. Like one match I beat him, and then another match he beats me. It's just like a back and forth thing.
You just made me add a question. When we have Tim on, I'm going to ask him how it felt when he got beat by Lilly. That's 100% going to be a question.
All right, so we've got a lot of comments in the live. We don't have a lot of questions, but we have a bunch of people commenting, and basically to sum them all up, everybody says you ladies are amazing. We got, when we were talking about the people speaking different languages, Greg Stewart says that we all call Wind and Mills, which is cool. Ben B was commenting on how awesome Assisi was. We got Carly talking about how you ladies have so many more years ahead of you. You know, you're at the top now, and you have so many more years to continue to grow, which is awesome. John Wade's in there. Chris Garcia's in there. I want to shout out people that have been commenting a lot. Tyler Orth's in there. Lots of people, and everybody's just sending their love and congrats to you guys and saying how awesome you guys are. So do you two plan on trying out for the team for 2025?
Yes, I do. And on the other hand, if I do really good in the center fire, I would really like if me and my dad could do 2026 for the center fire.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Think you just made Daddy's night.
I I'm concerned that if we need to let Lilly answer first, but I'm concerned that if we have those matches in the United States, it's going to hurt the momentum that we've got, just because like a lot of the people in Europe are like, man, we can't come to the United States. It's just too hard, too much money. And I worry that we'll lose a lot of what the IPRF is if we don't get the participation that we've seen in France and Italy. Because like in America, we don't think about it, but Europe is almost like the size of the United States, meaning they can drive from, like there were a lot of people that drove from, say, the UK down to Italy. It's a 20-hour drive, but it's like us going to Colorado. Whereas for them, coming to the United States, it's a much bigger deal. But anyway, I don't want to take away from what Lilly has to say, so let's definitely hear her opinion. Are you going to be shooting the next one?
I would like to. I would like to try to apply for the team again. And I would also really like to get better at center fire and even try to apply for that team as well.
So, Jayden, I know you'll be juniors again then. Will you still be juniors by 2025?
She'll, I think, just be turning 18.
Yeah, she should still qualify. And I believe, I can't remember what the age is for IPRF, but I believe it's a little older than 18. And that's because there are some countries that people are not even allowed to hold a gun until 18. So I want to say they upped it a little higher, but I can't remember what it was.
So Carly just said Rimfire is 18, center fire is 20 for a junior. Greg Stewart says 19, which is kind of the middle of the two. So
I should remember that, but I don't remember. But it was placed to where it would be appropriate so that all of the other countries that don't have as loose a rules as we have here in the United States, where they could actually have a junior team.
Mm-hmm.
So how are y'all going to prepare for it?
How did you prepare for this one?
Well, I practiced every single day, at least 10 to 30 rounds, one shots on just a standard barricade and prone positions. And then when I found out that I made the team, I started doing the 10 to 50 rounds, one shot groups, going from like 10 shots per position, and then going to a different position, working on that until I got like a time that I said like, hey, this is like the average time that I have and the hits amount, and yeah. And then when we got closer and closer and closer, I was doing at least to 50 to 100 rounds a day to try to get that extra practice in, because the faster that it was coming, we were getting more busy, and I didn't like some days like 2 days out of the week, like I didn't practice because we were like really busy at the shop, or I had something going on or something like that.
One of my favorite video, picture, whatever you want to call it, that I got was my wife sent me a video. I think it was. Yeah, it was a video. Yeah. My wife sent me a video one day and said, look at your daughter. And it was pouring down rain. And she was out there practicing on the PRS barricade. I mean, it was hammering rain, and she was still just out there practicing. So, I mean, everybody wants to shoot well, but very few people want to actually be shooting for practice every day. And there's a lot of people that say they do, but it's hard. It's hard to get out there and put the work in.
Agree. Lilly, how about you?
I would definitely practice more than what I did. Like, me and Tim practice every Wednesday, but I feel like that wasn't enough. Like, we'd practice some weekends, but I feel like I didn't put enough effort into practicing. So I would definitely practice more than once a week. Cause like our practices, like we practice for about like 3-4 hours, and we've used up about 200 rounds. But like we like set up stages like an actual match, and we make it more difficult than like a match would actually have here at home. But I just feel like I would definitely practice a lot more than what I did.
I think y'all got nowhere to go but up. Y'all both did so good at the match. So I think everybody needs to take it as a warning that both of you want to do 2025. And they need to start practicing. All right. Greg, do we have any lives?
I believe we are good on the live side.
All right. Well, I think we can wind it down to shout outs, and we normally start with Greg.
All right. So I wanted to start off with shouting out you ladies and everybody else on the team. Every single one of you that went over there and competed for us made the whole country proud. So you guys are amazing, and just keep up the good work. I also wanted to shout out a big thanks to Masterpiece Arms. The only reason why we were able to get over there and bring this live coverage home to everybody to see all around the world, as well as Vortex, Armageddon Gear, Warren Scope Mounts, Manners Composite Stocks, and Hunter's HD Gold for advertising on our stream with some really cool videos. If you guys haven't seen the commercials, like, they have some really good commercials that we put on there. But that's another reason why we were able to get over there and broadcast this competition to the world.
Yep. All right. How about Lilly?
I would like to give a big thank you for Tim Nowak for all the coaching he has done for me. Red Flannel Rod and Gun Club, Apex Optics, MDT, DST Precision, DeWitt Lumber, Community First Federal Credit Union, Safari Club International Michigan Chapter, 5x5 Precision, and all my family and friends that have supported me and helped me get to Italy.
All right. How about Jayden?
I want to give out a really, really big shout out to Applied Coatings and Vortex Optics and MDT Sporting Goods. They helped me out the most, but I want to give out much more shout outs to Zero Dark Precision for coming out to me. They're my first sponsors that actually hey, you're one of our first juniors. We want you be on our sponsor list. And then Ely, and then Chorus Rifleman's Outfitter for helping me with all my supplies, and then Rifleman's Path for all my training, and for VPRC helping me throughout all the years and all their help, and a lot of my family and friends, and a lot of people that believed in me that I could do this. And
yeah, we wouldn't have been able to do this had it not been for the fundraisers that we did. Vortex supplied a scope that we raffled off, and Applied Coatings and Gunworks built an AR-15 that we also were able to raffle off. So, had it not been for those guys doing that, and then the community buying the raffle tickets for her to be able to go, it would have, financially, we would not have been able to do it. So it's been really incredible to see the support.
That is great. Awesome. We've seen that for all the shooters. Now, we keep talking about the shop. You have a new shop. What's the name of the shop?
Rifleman's Outfitter.
And where is it located at?
Gretna, Virginia, on 29 Highway, south or north.
We're on the southbound side.
Southbound.
What kind of?
You have a website?
Yeah, website.
Not yet, but we're almost there.
Yeah, we've got a website in progress, and it's we're trying to stock basically all the stuff that we all use. So we've got everything from Armageddon Gear bags, and the wax that you put on the bags, and scopes, and barreled actions. Believe it or not, we're selling at least one Rimex barreled action a week. So if you need one, get after it. We've got them in stock.
We got Bagaras, Voodoo. We got Voodoo and Rimexes, right and left,
Yeah, we
And-
stock left-handed for you guys that are weird out there that nobody ever does stock anything for you. Come see us. We've got what you need.
My husband, he needs a rifle.
So we got to
There you
make a
go.
road
And we
trip to
got the
Virginia.
little.
Say what?
I said, my husband's a lefty.
We might need to make a road trip up to Virginia.
Yeah.
Sounds great. And then we just have all your other like hunting stuff and handguns and all that as well. So
And we usually have like all the nice high-end scopes like Vortex, Leupold, and Night Force, and all those guys. Try to keep all them. And then we have a couple of custom hunting rifles and RPRs, Rugers, and
yep.
all that fun
And we
stuff.
also have a really nice PRS 22 range in
Yeah.
the back. So.
That too.
Nice. And you can buy all this equipment from a world champion.
Oh,
I've actually had a couple of people, so our shirts and stuff, they're like, hey, when I buy my shirt and y'all make it and stuff, can I get a signature with it? And I'm like, I don't know.
and Jayden's head goes,
I was about to say, Andy, how does it feel? I mean, I feel like you need to get on it about Centerfire, boy, because how's it feel that the world champ in the family is not you?
that's fair. Shots fired, accurate fire.
Oh, you need to get behind that Centerfire gun and get on it for 2024.
I will be at the Rimfire International shoot in the next time they have it. You can write that down.
Writing it down. Better happen.
Yep.
All right. And for my shout outs, I do want to shout out again Masterpiece Arms that got us over there. Just like Andy, it was a very expensive trip. We could not have gone and done the coverage that we did had we not had support. It just wouldn't be feasible. I also want to shout out my husband, Damien, who ran the table. He was the producer, and basically whatever you saw live was because he deemed it to be what needed to be live. So talk about putting your life in his hands. But he did a great job and jumped in when we had this crazy idea to do this. So big shout out to him. And then just a shout out to, I have to do it, to Team Great Britain, because I was sloshing with water because they gave me so much water. They found out we didn't really have a source to bring us food and water during the match. And every time I turned around, then there was someone else that was like, here's some water. And I was like, oh, well, Holly just brought me water. And they were like, but mine's cold. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to take it. They just really went out of their way to make sure that we were okay. And I do appreciate that massive effort, because they really just kind of came out the last 3 days. And every time I turned around, there was a bottle of water. So huge shout out to them for helping us out. And also a shout out to these two young ladies who give me faith in humanity again, because our youth is not completely broken. I watched y'all all week, not only when you were behind the trigger, but just how you behaved yourselves. And both of y'all were very, very nice young women that your parents should be proud of how y'all behaved and how you shot. So shout out to y'all for your character and your shooting abilities, all of the above. I think it's a package deal, and I think y'all are both great. So shout out to y'all. And with that, it's going to be a wrap for episode 416. And we'll see everybody next time.